Dasher.
Hey, Coach. Just
Yep.
real quick, just want to see how Trey McKinnon was doing with his rehab, and if there was a chance he still play on Saturday.
He's doubtful for Saturday. He's up and running, moving around well, and got on the alter G. Has been able to run some, but we don't think he's going to make it in time for Saturday.
Mark Weiser. Mark Weiser.
Sorry about that. Hey, Kirby. I want to ask you regarding the offense, how much influence in the direction that you all are taking it are some of the other elite teams that have had success with RPOs and spreading it out and the way the game seemingly has changed?
I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. Can you say that again? I don't think the offenses that are highly successful are necessarily RPOs. I would disagree with that. But what are you asking again?
The direction that the offense is heading under Coach Monken, is it influenced by some of the successes that other elite programs, have had offensively? Are you? I know you guys do a lot of studying in the off season of various programs.
Yeah, it's built around what we think we can do and be most successful with the players we have. Certainly study a lot of teams that were successful offensively last year, as we do every year. Look what we have similar to other teams that might have something similar to us, meaning there's elite receiver or elite tight end or maybe backs or a really good featured quarterback. I mean, whatever it is that we think we can simulate with the players we have that teams have been successful with. I think you have to be careful, though, when you talk about that, because our league is very different than many others. And the outlier for me would be obviously LSU last year, being what they did. And I think you can see on every Sunday what they had and what they were capable of with the ammunition they had. But I think everybody tries to copycat to an extent and do what people do well. And we have to build that around what we have and what we're capable of doing with what we have.
Mike Griffith.
Yeah, Coach. Just want to ask you about Nakobe Dean. Obviously, he was a high-profile recruit, played a lot last year with that high sprained ankle. How different, how much more productive will Nakobe be, and do you expect him to be a three-down backer?
Yeah, Nakobe's had a really good fall camp. He's extremely intelligent. He's extremely competitive. He loves football. He's a great leader. He's made himself a better player. He came in a really well-polished, well-coached player, and he's only gotten better in our system. And expecting to have a really good year and be a successful player for us. He sets the tone and makes a lot of calls for us in our defense.
Seth Emerson.
Kirby, on the defense this year, with all the talent and experience coming back, besides complacency, injuries, or God forbid something COVID related, what really can you worry about with this defense?
I don't know. It depends on who you ask. I didn't think we had a lot of preseason hype with our defense in terms of all SEC guys, or I would think that all the better defenses are somewhere else, because I don't know that we put but two guys maybe. I don't know how many it was. Richard and Jordan were the only two I noticed on any of the accolades. So for us to have all the great players, they're certainly not getting recognized that way. I think they played really hard last year. I thought our defensive staff did a tremendous job putting them in good positions. A lot of things we could do better from last year, which is create more turnovers, trying to create the havoc we talked about last year that we didn't get to do at the rate we would like to do it. I did think we played well in the red area, and we did a pretty good job on third downs. I mean, at the end of the day, we kept people from scoring. That was probably the most important stat there is with the scoring defense we had. But I mean, what keeps us from doing that again? Probably ourselves and the teams we play, and potentially, what depends on what happens with offense too. Because if you're scoring a lot of points, a lot of times people are playing you different. We were in a lot of tight ball games last year, it seemed like, and probably some weather conditions that were favorable for the defense in terms of some tough weather conditions to play in throughout the year.
Let's go to Chip Towers.
Coach, I'm just going to ask the dreaded ouch question on the COVID thing, and I ask it in the context of, I'm sure you probably saw the news today about Notre Dame and Wake Forest, and obviously Notre Dame is a program like your own that's obviously going to have the latest and the best resources for combating this darn virus. I just wonder how that lands on you, and then the reality of, is anybody going to be out Saturday because of this or anything?
It's not really a question that we're answering. I mean, I'm not going to discuss it and put anything out there if that's what you're asking. Is it a concern? It's a concern every time we test. I mean, I worry about the health and safety of the players at the first and foremost. Ron Corson and his staff have done a tremendous job educating our players. We start every meeting with an education process, and we've been pretty fortunate in terms of where other people are. But I don't even know what you're referencing with Notre Dame and Wake, so I may be out of the loop because I've been preparing for practice all day.
Jay Rowe?
Yeah, Kirby, I wanted to ask you about this offensive line, and you guys had to replace some really good players, and have you feel like you're settled in there with the five that you're going to kind of start with there at Arkansas, and what's been kind of their progression during preseason practice, strength, struggles, those type of things?
Well, it's tough to measure. I mean, they got some guys that played, obviously in the bowl game, and we've got some young players that I think are going to be talented that might not be ready yet, and we're trying to develop depth. And as you know, in the last 2 to 3 years here at Georgia, we haven't made it through the year without offensive linemen missing games, and a lot of guys going out in games and multiple guys going out during a game. So we've tried to, piecemeal that back and forth. If this guy's out, this guy's in. If he's down, he's here. What gets your best next player on the field? And that's always tough. It's really tough during a pandemic when you may not always have your full arsenal. So I'm proud of the way they've played. They played with toughness. They play hard. They block a really tough front every day. I think it's going to be important to our season success that we can get movement and run the ball up front. We struggled to do that last year, and that was probably one of the toughest things for us offensively, was to be able to run the ball. And we had a really experienced, talented offensive line. So we have to be able to run the ball to set up other things. And I'm proud of the way those guys have worked. And we probably got 7 or 8 guys that we feel comfortable rolling through there.
Let's go to Dean Legge.
Probably along the lines of running the ball, when you, at some stage, I guess, the quarterback, whoever that person may be, will run it. How do you make sure that, how do you make sure that person doesn't get hurt? Or what's your worry level on that front?
Yeah, you can't control it. I mean, there's no way we can control it. I mean, we have injuries every day at practice. There's a ankle sprain, a bruise, a contusion, a knee. It's a violent football's a violent sport. I mean, it's a contact sport, and there's injuries in it. So it's really not something you can control, and you really can't control it in games because quarterbacks are much more vulnerable during games than they are in practice. So it's always a concern for us, which is why you recruit hard, you develop, you establish a roster, you get guys ready. We're very fortunate that we have the ability to practice a lot of guys and develop them and try to get them ready. But it's always a concern about guys getting hit, especially guys that haven't been hit before.
Brandon Sudge?
Hey, Kirby. Actually, Jed May from Macon. I wanted to ask you about DeJuan. And, last year, what do you think he learned from Jake in terms of, leadership, taking command of a team on the field, all those types of things that might be helping him right now?
I would probably say just being level-headed. I mean, I think all the quarterbacks that were here last year, the 2 really and a couple of the walk-on kids, they learned that the composure is such a big important part, that no matter how well you practice, or how poor you practice, or how good the play was, or how bad the play was, the next play is the only one that matters. And I think composure is a big part of it. I think each one of these guys has learned that from Jake. I think Jake had a set routine he did during the week, and he set a standard pretty high for a quarterback position in terms of preparation.
Zach Klein, you have a question?
Hey, Coach, have you notified the player or the teams who will start at quarterback Saturday?
What's that? I didn't hear your question.
Have you notified the player or the entire team of who will start at quarterback on Saturday?
I would say that's a team decision, and we keep our team stuff to ourselves.
Thank you.
Let's go to David Pascal.
Hey, Kirby, wanted to ask you about a player up here from Chattanooga, or near Chattanooga, with Lad McConkey, the freshman. I know he was very versatile at North Murray, so I guess my question would be how's he been doing? How have you been using him, and does he have a chance to help? Is there some role he could help you guys out of the gate?
He's fast. He's athletic. He's got really good hands, and he comes to work every day. He's a guy that has worked some with our scout team, and he competes. He blocks. I mean, he's a lot more physical than you would expect a guy his size to be, and he's gotten bigger since he got here. I'm excited about him and his development. He works so hard each day, and got really good ball skills, and he's caught the ball well.
Vance Levy, you have a question?
Hey, Coach. How's the practices been the last couple days and today? And then has the team transitioned pretty well going into game week? And has it been more challenging given everything y'all have had to go through to even get here?
They've transitioned well to game week. We started, I guess it was Friday on Arkansas, and that was a pleasant change for them to get past camp and the brutal reality of going against yourself all the time. I think they enjoyed the idea of a new opponent and transition into that, and they've done well this week. There's been good energy out there. We've had really good weather, and they enjoy practicing. They like going against each other, and a lot of them would rather go against each other the whole practice than go against the scout team, so they get to really compete. They just like playing football, and that's what makes it fun coaching them.
Let's go to the red and black. William, is that you today?
Yeah, it is. Thanks, Claude. Hey, Coach. So, projections have you guys winning big on Saturday. But, what on this Arkansas offense in particular are you looking out for and that you don't want to underestimate heading into this game?
Well, Arkansas's got a great skill. Look, Chad Morris knows what he's doing when he recruited a lot of these guys that are big athletes. A lot of them played last year. They have a lot of matchup issues for us. They got two really good tight ends. They got one of the best backs in the SEC. Look, Sam's been coaching the offensive line for a long time, and he's got an O-line coach that he's known for a long time. So I'm not falling into that trap of bringing a young offensive football team on our side of the ball, falling into thinking that it's going to be one of these tight games. That's not the case. Our kids are going in. They got a lot of respect for Coach Pittman. They got a lot of respect for – we know they'll practice hard just like we practice hard, and they got a good football team. And it shows up when you look and say, okay, what is – these guys done? What has Coach Brown's done in his history? He's run a lot of plays. He's running really fast. He's not going to sit there and let us get our cleats dug in the ground and play defense. He's going to make us play, left-handed, and our job is to try to not let that happen.
We've got time for about two more questions. Let's just open up. Anybody?
Coach Smart, I was wondering if there's anything during a game week that helps you feel more comfortable, just a personal routine or process that you've always gone through either as a assistant or head coach?
I usually judge that off of kids' demeanor, their approach, walkthroughs, meetings, guys coming in to watch extra. Just the attention to detail that the players show is the number one thing that tells me they're ready or they're focused. And when you have silly mistakes and they don't focus in, it usually shows and it gets you concerned. So that probably the only thing that gets me at ease is the seriousness approach to the game the players have.
Coach, I want to ask you about Cade Mays. Tennessee's talked a lot about this player. They accused Georgia having a toxic atmosphere and asked if you've written a release. I mean, what is your stance on Cade and some of the things that Jeremy Pruitt has said the last 3 weeks over and over?
Well, unfortunately, I'm not able to respond to that. So in due time, it'll play itself out, but it's not something I'm allowed to comment on.
Got it.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.